Welcome to the October 15th, 2019 Herndon Town Council public hearing.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'll call the meeting to order. We ask that you'll join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we are pleased to warmly welcome Girl Scout Troop 2421 from St. Joe's Catholic Church, they're going to come forward and lead the pledge with us. Come on down. Are we ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let me get your picture, ladies. All right. Well done. Thank you very much. They also have a lot of great ideas to give back to the community, so this is not the last that you will see of these ladies. Before we get started, I wanted to announce the dates of 2 upcoming meetings. A special work session is scheduled to continue the Town Council's discussion on housing. We first discussed it at a September 17th work session, and it was continued to set aside a dedicated time for additional discussion as we grapple with what's possible and what direction we might want to go in. It will be taking place this Thursday, the 17th, at 7 p.m. next door in our conference room. And our third Town Council Community Roundtable is on for Wednesday, October 23rd from 7 to 9 p.m. at Trinity Presbyterian Church, and we hope that many of you will come out and join us for that. We don't have any presentations this evening, so we'll get right to comments, and we'll start with Mr. Town Manager. Do you have any comments for us?
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. DeCall?
Sure, I got a few things to share. Last week I went to attend a 5K run walk organized by MAD Virginia, which stands for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It was very good. I ran also 5K, which was even better. Another thing, Sprouts Market grand opening, I attended along with council members McKenna, Baker, and myself. And it's pretty cool because new businesses are opening, right? And then they offer healthy options, organic. So if you haven't checked it out, please go and check it out. I also went to Nature Feast, which was on September 29 at Runnymede Park. Lots of shows, animals, insects, a lot of exhibits. Even the History Society was there, so it was pretty cool. And it was pretty engaging, and kids were really engaged, including my son, who is 3.5 years old. He enjoyed a lot. As Madam Mayor said, the third round of Community Roundtable is coming, which is October 23rd. Please come join us. This is a great opportunity to learn the progress, the issues, the concerns. We can share, we can learn from each other. So I look forward to meeting all of you on that one. Homecoming Parade is 19th October. Please come join us this Saturday. 17th October, as Madam Mayor said again, is our special work session to talk about housing, whether it's affordable housing or workforce housing or any housing issues we're going to talk about. So please come join us, listen to the presentations, and please give us feedbacks on housing, because this is a very important issue that we are trying to address here, and your input is very valuable. And we've received tons of emails from town residents for affordable housing or housing issues. Thank you for whoever sent us email, and we look forward to receiving more inputs from the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Baker. Sure. So really looking forward to the homecoming parade. Just a thank you already to Parks and Rec, who always put on a great event for that, as we are prepared to cheer on our football team after the parade. But that's, of course, this Saturday morning. It looks like great weather, so that should be a great event, as always, into the future. Please go see Next Stop Theater's Pride and Prejudice. I know many of us on the dais saw that within the last week or so. Absolutely excellent, as all their performances are. I mean, it's funny, it's poignant, Really, really well done. So you have until October 27th, that Sunday, to see Pride and Prejudice. I'd also encourage you, since it is the Halloween season, we have one of the best decorated houses in town. It even has its own Facebook page, the historic Haunted Herndon Halloween House, and that's on, of course, 610 Spring Street. So I encourage you to drive by, walk by, more importantly, so you can really look at all the details that those homeowners put into that to their house to make it really festive for this time of year, and a little creepy, but also festive with their creepy clowns this year. And finally, one other date just to put on your calendars. So November 6th, it's a Wednesday night. It's the day after the general election, so we will be having a work session that night, but also the Herndon High School Band will be having their first fall concert on Wednesday, November 6th. I encourage all of you to come to that concert. We've invited the veterans' families from the USS Herndon, so many of the folks that went on the trip with the band this past summer to Normandy are invited to that concert. I'll be reading a proclamation at that concert honoring just the efforts of our band, of our veterans, of our connection to history and to the USS Herndon, the destroyer ship that was, again, the lead ship in the fight at D-Day. So really looking forward to honoring those folks again, and of course celebrating our Herndon High School Band on Wednesday, November 6th. Thanks. Thank you. Mr. Delagula.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Real quick, the 5th, October, I attended the event of the town this year. It was the Bark Bash and Pooch Parade. So if you didn't see it, oh my gosh, it was amazing. A lot of fun, a lot of love. I think I'm going to make the request to do a pay-per-view next year so everyone can really enjoy that one. Want to echo the sentiments earlier, the comments from Councilman DeCall. We do have the housing work session. That is a very important initiative for us here going forward. Please come out for that, and the roundtable as well on the 23rd. The last few have been absolutely amazing, enlightening for us. We need to hear from the residents out there on your priorities. So please come out. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McKenna.
Real quick, we had our Youth Advisory Council meeting at the police station this time. It was really good input from the students in regards to engaging with the police, and also with our Human Resources Department in regards to careers after high school, in regards to what kind of jobs can you have in the state and local government and even federal government in regards to their career paths. So that was pretty interesting. Tonight is Game 4 of the Nationals. I had tickets tonight, but I'll be rooting from afar, so go Nats. And then the last thing I do want to bring up, which is interesting, I was at a birthday party at the National Zoo on October 5th, and my friend's father was there, Rod Thorne, who was just hired October 1st as the consultant for the Washington Wizards. He was Executive of the Year. He's a Hall of Famer. And everywhere he's gone, he's brought him to the NBA championship. So when he was with the Nets, he brought him to the NBA Finals when I was on council in New Jersey. And I'm hoping he can do the same thing and have success with the Wizards, because they certainly need it. So I want to wish Mr. Thorne the best, and that's all I have.
Do you know any football coaches? Just a thought. Ms. Friedrichs.
Hi. Okay, so I am not sure if we talked about the Virginia Municipal League last time we were here, but many of the members of council, all of us trucked on down to Roanoke and experienced a great conference focused on what it is that we want to do as municipalities in the state of Virginia. We learned a lot, saw a really beautiful city, and experienced the hospitality that really couldn't be beat. It was quite enjoyable. In addition, I was able to represent the town of Herndon at the Faith's 20th anniversary celebration. It's starting to run together recently, within the past couple days. I was truly inspired. This is a group of people that work very hard to make sure that people in need get assistance, that people in hunger get food, that people who don't know how to manage their finances learn how. And they focus on making sure that our community is a healthy and diverse and kind community. And I was so pleased and honored to be able to speak to them and hear what they have to say about what they're doing. And it's an inspiring group. And I urge you, if you have a chance, to go out to their thrift store and help them with their projects by buying some stuff. I just came back from the Women's Achievement Summit in Richmond. Queen Latifah was our MC, so I had to go. That's all I'm saying. And had the opportunity to listen to some incredibly inspiring women who work in all areas of the country, including, in all areas of work, one of whom was the first woman astronaut, and the president of Marymount University, Irma Becerra, who came to this country from Cuba in the 1950s and has worked her way up to become a PhD in engineering and then became the president of a traditionally women's college. So really inspiring week, and I don't know what I'm doing because there's so much going on, but it's been great, and I've been delighted to represent you at all these things. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. So I also attended VML last weekend, and it was great. I learned about some other funding sources and made some contacts that I'll be passing on to our staff. I got pretty excited about the stormwater management program and ways to get things done and save money at the same time for the town. Another thing of interest to everyone living in the town, Metro Monday will be featuring the town of Herndon and the Innovation Station stop, and I do believe our town manager will be speaking. So if you want to attend that, that's coming up next Monday. Go on to the Dulles Chamber website to get information and sign up because they do have a limited number. It's in 2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks, the 28th. The other thing is the roundtable coming up. If you're an individual that doesn't like to come to a council meeting and stand up and talk on TV, please come to this. It gives you a great opportunity to just meet and talk to council members, and you'll have other people there. You can drag a friend. You don't feel like you're, having to speak in public, so to speak. It's more like sitting around a dinner table without dinner. We'll just...
We got to work on that.
Yeah, so please come out. We'd love to hear from you at the other 2 events that were very well attended. I was so impressed with the number of people that I saw that I've never seen in the chambers. So please come on out and talk to us and let us know what's going on in your life and how we can help you with the town. Thank you.
Absolutely. And it's a casual event. Come as you are. You don't need to dress up to come see us. So we hope to see so many of you there. So the next portion of our agenda is the portion where any individual can come forward and speak on any item that's not listed as one of our public hearing items. This is also the appropriate time to comment on a general or a consent agenda item. You have up to 3 minutes. When the red light comes on, we'll ask you to wrap up. Please state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone that would like to come forward and speak? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. My name is Carol Hadlock. I live at 515 Alabama Drive. This evening I'm here on behalf of the Board of Directors of Friends of Runnymede Park. If you haven't already heard, well, you have already heard, Nature Fest was a huge success this year. We had almost 500 people attend. I don't know if that's a record or not, but it's a very happy number for us. We had 26 stations, which is more than we've ever had before. It was hot, but it didn't rain on us, and so we are all just very happy. Tired, but happy. The reason I'm here tonight is I want to publicly thank John Dazinski, the Department of Public Works and Parks and Recreation for all the support they gave us. They give us every year. Especially this year with all the sewer work that was going on and the path down to the stream being so torn up. I just kept getting emails from Mike Farr. Are you going to have it ready? Is it going to be fixed? We can't send people down there if they can't push a stroller down there. They had it fixed. It was beautifully fixed. And so we just want to say thank you to everybody. It was an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you for making the time. Who else would like to come forward? Yes, sir. And Ms. Veda, I see you can be next.
Okay, I'll get there.
Mayor Lisa, members of the Town Council, my name is Jay Hadlock. I live at 515 Alabama Drive here in Herndon. Recently, the town announced a change in recycling. Residents have been asked to separate empty glass containers from general recycling. Residents were asked to take the glass to one of the purple dumpsters available in the county. The nearest one to Herndon is located at the Reston South Park and Ride. Residents can also put empty glass containers in the trash. I would like to suggest that the town join Fairfax County, City of Alexandria, Prince William and Arlington counties, and position one of these purple bins within the town limits. This will make it easier for town residents to drop off glass containers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are working on that. Completely agree. Thank you. Ms. Veda.
Staff I wasn't able to get the format to staff in time and in their correct format for the slideshow, so I'm just going to give you an old-fashioned paper slideshow.
Thank you.
It's,
I believe we got that for you.
oh, great, great. Did it include the photos?
We have the
You
photos.
can-
I think it may be separate, but we have the photos.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, you may start my 3 minutes then. Ann Veda Null, 631 Oak Street. In September, this council approved a decorative roof for my heritage structure. Roof replacement is expensive. Decorative is on the low end of pricing and the low end of quality and durability. It must be replaced frequently, making it more expensive than architectural. My home is not an Easter egg to be decorated. The town deems this structure to be a serious piece of heritage. Please treat it accordingly and not disrespect the aesthetic with inappropriate decoration. Oh gosh, darn it. Now where are we? Misidentification. This classic American Foursquare was misidentified through the application and appeal process. Misidentification contributed to approving inappropriate materials. The HPRB misstatement that one of the other Florence Place heritage structures was getting a metal full roof replacement tainted my application and must be corrected. Of the 3 heritage structures on Florence Place, mine is the only salvageable. The failure of these structures is due to water damage and failed roofs. If photo evidence of damage and specific pricing formats are required, this requirement must be included in the application. My application and appeal were harmed by the absence of these requirements. I urge you to correct this important deficit. HBRB use of the term financial hardship is completely outside of their purview and detrimental. I urge you to put a stop to this practice. I was never formally informed. You can see all the info there. I was never formally informed. There's no process in place to inform my structure's designation. I unwittingly learned of my burden years after purchasing by overhearing neighboring neighbors complaining. Neighboring heritage homeowners complaining. The town's failure to disseminate this information while imposing burdens may somehow slip under the Commonwealth's letter of the law, but it doesn't meet Herndon's hometown goal of transparency and welcomeness. It is deceptive and constitutes a unilateral contractual commitment imposed on an unwitting homeowner.
Thank you. Can you try to wrap up, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Using the term approval for the polar opposite of an application is Orwellian. I urge the use of clear, accurate, meaningful language. My roof leaks right now, protected only by a tarp. Roof replacement season is waning till late spring 2020. Appealing to the county introduces delays and costs. The town's heritage guideline rewrite doesn't begin until December. Urgent action is required now.
Oh, we need you to wrap up, please.
In September, I was touched by the compassion shown by each of you in the work session addressing workplace, low income, and senior housing. Now I place before you an opportunity to put actions to your words. I implore you to allow me the privilege of preserving a piece of Herndon's heritage and to make my hearth and home watertight. Please amend September 24th COA. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward and speak on an item that is not listed as a public hearing? Yes, sir.
How you all doing?
We're good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thanks for
Watch a
making the
wonderful
time.
sunset. My name's Walt Shorter, 559 Early Fall Court. Was the president of the HOA in Four Seasons. I've stepped down as of yesterday, basically to get the next generation involved, and I've put 5 years of strong, Sheila knows, as a commitment to improve the community there. First of all, I want to recognize the DPW for their effort that they did this last weekend in our side of the community anyway. There were a couple glitches, and I reached out to them. They explained it, so the community's happy now. They weren't as happy Friday evening, but had a very interesting conversation with them. The main reason I'm here, and one of the reasons I'm stepping down and becoming the vice president for the next couple of years, is the concern that I've addressed in the past, which is the border between us and Parcher Avenue. We've gotten approval from both boards. The concern is still building this fence, and I will be going to the commission with that. But what's really disconcerting to me right now, there's already foot and bike traffic that we've never seen before coming through our community. So as we go forward with this, which will probably be sometime in the spring, I would really like to have support as the commission comes out and makes their decision that we can block that access off. We've had increase in crime the last couple of months, scratches, dents like that. So really trying, that's one of the main reasons we want to deal with this fence, because we've had issues with the drugs, the alcohol. We cleaned everything up. The town did an awesome job with that. But now we want to put a stoppage to the foot traffic between the two, because we can't control, especially with Metro coming next year. That's the greatest concern we have. So I just wanted to share that with you all.
Thank you for keeping us up to date. I appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak on any item that's not a public hearing item? Anybody else? Okay, thank you all for being here tonight. We've rearranged the agenda slightly this evening to have our general item first, which is our resolution to accept the State of the Town report for fiscal year 2019. We have to, in accordance with our charter, we have to accept it every year in September, and the night that we did accept it, our meeting went until 11 p.m. So in the interest of having an audience to actually hear all the wonderful things that are going on, we delayed it until tonight, and with council concurrence, we wanted to make it at the top of the agenda this evening. So with that, I will recognize Bill Ashton for your presentation. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'd like to stand here and give you all of the wonderful things we have done in the past year, but I think we'd be here until next Tuesday. So again, it's very difficult to distill the 77 pages of the report that we gave to you 2-3 weeks ago into just a few minutes, but I'm going to try to hit some of the highlights. First off, we sent out to each home, they should have received last week, the brochure, the color brochure with some of our most significant highlights from the year are incorporated in there. If I can just point out one thing, we didn't have one error of omission that was not by design, and we failed to put Art Center into the downtown piece. That paragraph is missing. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for pointing that out to me earlier today. That was an error of omission, not of commission, so we just forgot to put it in there. It would take an act of council to remove that from the comprehensive agreement, and so it is still valid, and we'll talk about that more here in a few minutes. But right now with my time, I want to provide you some of the highlights of the 77 pages that you received a few weeks ago. How I will do this is much like the brochure itself. We'll follow through your council vision and what we did for each tenant. And then we're going to talk about the few things that in my reviews in July, you give me specific objectives to focus on, and then we'll hit on those elements as well. So for the first, tenant honoring people. Last autumn, the Planning Commission hosted a work session devoted to understanding housing diversity, which sought to discuss workforce housing and affordable housing efforts in the town and throughout Fairfax County. Additionally, we hired a housing rehabilitation specialist to work with some of our aged neighborhoods to maintain the integrity of these neighborhoods, to preserve them as a place for affordable dwellings here in the town. After being sworn in to council, the council expressed to me a desire for more community outreach. We talked about it tonight, the council roundtables. In FY19, the council hosted 2 very successful roundtables where citizens and businesses could come and have informal discussions about town issues. And these were well attended. All I heard from the community throughout, as much like you have heard, was nothing but positive about those efforts. Over the past year, HPD increased its social media presence so as to connect to more people. In addition to where they had been on Facebook, they are now, the shift supervisors are equipped with Twitter to keep us up to date on road closures, on accidents, on things that are happening in the community. HPD also continues to use the language line for translation support, but in an effort to allow officers an opportunity to truly connect, the department has purchased Rosetta Stone Spanish licenses for any interested officer, and to date, 15 officers are working to increase their Spanish proficiency. One of the finest examples of honoring people came in the form of the Herndon Police participation in Project Hope at Hutchinson Elementary School. Through after-school programs like this, Herndon police officers work to establish trust to the most vulnerable members of our community. This program received national acclaim when the Police Executive Research Forum named this as one of the 3 stellar examples of how to strengthen relationships between police and immigrant communities. Tenet of celebrating community spirit. Last year, DPW supported over 100 special events in the town over the course of that fiscal year. National Night Out grew to 14 neighborhoods last fiscal year, and we had to break into 3 routes from our traditional 2. Staff finally started working on the Heritage Preservation Review Guidelines that we were just talking about a few moments ago, where we actually had citizen input, had citizen meetings to gather input. The consultants have gone back, they've worked with staff, and we've gone back and forth, and we're quite hopeful that by the end of the year, we'll have something to show you and the Heritage Preservation Review Board. We're going to have a joint meeting to unveil it to both bodies and then seek additional public comment beyond that before it comes back to you for adoption. Tenet of championing business and technology. The town sponsored 2 networking events for our technology companies to assist business in the development process. This is something that came from the business community themselves, and it's part of the survey that we conducted of them. One of the areas where they were deeply concerned, and we transitioned the site plan review process from where it was traditionally held in the Community Development Department to the Department of Public Works, who owns about 75% of that review. So it's truly where it needs to be. It's home. It found its home. Also listening to our business community. In FY 2019, all the contractual work, site plan review, right-of-way work, legislative work that was completed towards our Smart Cities project, which we're currently under construction. In August, the fiber was run to all locations and the first LED smart poles were installed. We anticipate wrapping this project up in the next month. In the tenet of enriching lives through arts and entertainment, one of the most significant events that occurred last year was moving the Herndon Festival from where it has existed for 40 years in the downtown to a new site at the Northwest Federal Credit Union. This was a massive logistical effort that the Department of Public Works, the Department of Parks and Recreation, the Herndon Police Department worked in concert to pull off a highly successful festival with 62,000 people coming over the course of those days. And we did it so well that Northwest Federal Credit Union has invited us back. So we were good guests, we cleaned up after ourselves, and we've been invited back for next year where we can apply the lessons learned from this year to make next year that much better. We had a new event in town, the Play It Safe bicycle event. This was an interesting event because it was a mixture of town plus Northern Virginia Regional Commission plus Green Lizard Cycling joining together to pull off an event that featured bike swaps, helmet giveaways, bike obstacle courses, and other safety events for bicyclists. Despite the rainiest year on record, the Herndon Centennial Golf Course revenues were up 1.34%. Given the amount of days that they couldn't put golfers on the course, they had a revenues increase during the last fiscal year. This, to me, is something that speaks to Gene's incredible management of the course, Mike Mueller as the superintendent and his staff being out there, and the course has never, this is a subjective opinion, the course has never looked in better shape than it did by the end of last year. Cultivating a sustainable environment. Again, going back to the golf course, their nutrient management plan received national attention, national recognition. We maintained our focus on curbside recycling program, leading to a recycling rate of 40.4%. This was higher than our 25% target that the department had set for themselves. We conducted a system-wide water leak survey, revealed 17 leaks that we proactively fixed before they became larger problems. We demonstrated your commitment to multimodal transportation through completion of Phase 2 of the WNOD bicycle trail lighting, which extended from Ferndale to Crestview, and the cost savings in that project allowed us to make those LED lights as opposed to traditional street lights. We completed the engineering of the Van Buren Complete Streets project. As you all well know, this project is not so much a road project as it is a multimodal project. It is to create better pedestrian passage, better bike passage through that stretch leading down to the metro area. We completed the first segment of the Herndon Transit-Oriented Core Herndon Parkway cycle track, which when it's complete, it will extend from Van Buren Street down to Spring Street on the outer loop of the Herndon Parkway. That wasn't the only transportation things we were doing last year. We did a great many other things. We completed the design and engineering of East Spring Street, which is a major realignment of East Spring Street and Herndon Parkway for Metro. This project will occur immediately after the Van Buren Street project, and it is critical to operating that metro area and moving traffic through in and out of the metro area. We completed the design and engineering of the Eldon Street Center Street realignment project, a critical project for the downtown. That intersection is a kind of off-center. This project will bring that into standard conformance and make it easier to signalize and move traffic in and out of the downtown when complete. We completed the South Eldon Street Improvements Concept Plan that allowed the town to secure grant funding for that project in several years. In total, the town received more than $21 million in regional and state grants, most of which were for transportation. In addition to the vision, the council is very interested in the success of the town in two particular areas, and that was Metro and the downtown. As it was once said to me, it's the heart and the soul of the town, whereas the Metro will be the heart, the lifeblood of where we're going, but the soul still remains in our downtown, and both those areas are under significant redevelopment. So for Metro, staff last year worked relentlessly on the development plan for the redevelopment of 555 Herndon Parkway from a single 3-story suburban office product to 2 high-rise and 1 mid-rise mixed-use development. During the evolution of the plan that council approved several months ago, the developers planning to contribute over $2.2 million for transportation, schools, recreation, in addition to the $900,000 they intend to devote to on-site amenities to create a unique sense of place in that development. In FY 2019, staff worked with Lerner Corporation in their desire to redevelop the suburban office product on their site. Early in FY 2020, we have received their development plan, which will work its way to you in the future. Also in FY 19, Stanley Martin's Metro Square redevelopment was completed. This level of redevelopment will require additional water and sewer capacity. To meet these emerging demands, in FY 2019, the town finalized the purchase of 1 million gallons per day capacity of water from Fairfax Water at the cost of $6.5 million, and updated the capital improvement program to reflect moving this water from where we're getting it from the county to where it will be needed in the metro area. Also, staff worked on options to expand our sewer capacity. As you all well know, that's a trickier question for us to answer, but staff has continued to move that ball forward, and we're hoping in the coming months we will have a plan to present to you. In the downtown, most people think of the public-private partnership the town entered into in FY 2018 with Comstock, but the FY 2019 activities included getting an approved site plan, a major several-month-long initiative, achieving HPRB approval for the 2 demolitions and the building of the proposed mixed-use development, which will include 273 residential units, approximately 17,000 square feet of retail space, and I'll say this again, an 18,000 square foot art center, a public-private garage, several public open spaces and plazas to include the Arts Walk, which will tie our two main streets, the W&OD Bicycle Trail to Eldon Street, through the center of this development. These events laid the groundwork for Comstock and staff to start working on the conditions needed to close the comprehensive agreement between the parties, which we are working diligently each day to get that ball closer across the goal line. Other downtown initiatives this year included the opening of the retail in Junction Square, that mixed-use product along Eldon Street, filling those retail bays, land acquisition for the downtown utility undergrounding, and the completion of the engineering for the Eldon Center Street project that we talked about a few minutes ago. Undergrounding and the intersection realignment are scheduled to occur in concert with the downtown redevelopment project. If you read the charter, it stipulates I should give you a financial overview. So to that end, because of that mandate, I am saying to you that the town maintained its AAA credit rating last year with all three credit rating agencies. This included some questions from some of them that we were able to respond in kind and maintain the rating. We complied with all financial policies. We completed and passed the annual audit. We maintained over a 99% collection rate on all revenues and receipts legally entitled to the town. Updates to the town investment policies are still underway, pending completion of the CIP capitalization project, which we are diligently working on as we speak. While the investment policy is pending, investments remained primarily in the state's local government investment pool fund, a very safe fund that the state allows local governments to use to hold funds. During the past year, we expanded our P-card program to provide staff with greater agility in meeting the demands of the town while maintaining fiduciary oversight of their activities. Administratively, last year, we reorganized the Community Development Department with a focus on improving current planning operations for better customer service. This is in direct response to what the business community has asked for. Parks and Recreation completed and you adopted a strategic plan that will help them plan operations for the next several years. The Finance Department conducted much needed cross-training in anticipation of several key retirements. We reorganized the budget manager from the town manager's office to the Department of Finance. All of this work was conducted while the organization remained in transition. Last year, 10 town employees retired, most of which were in senior leadership positions. All this was conducted while we were losing some great, incredible knowledge that walked out the door. But the town then turned around and hired 143 new employees last year, 114 of which were temp seasonals or flex, part-time flex. For these positions, almost 2,400 applications were received and processed by our Human Resources Department. Our employee referral program paid dividends with 93 referrals, leading to seven new regular status employees and 34 temporary status employees. As you can see by these numbers, Herndon remains a desirable place to work. Even in a zero unemployment marketplace that we live in today, we are still a desirable place to work. We continued our work on the culture of the organization, which was critical. And this culture is based on leadership in every corner of the organization, from the person from grade 1 all the way to the town manager's office. The focus is on leadership. And it's leadership that's based on respect. It's leadership that is based on empowerment. It's based on teamwork, agility, ethical accountability, and approaching our work every day with a servant's heart. The humility that comes with a servant's heart that is necessary to do the job that the public is asking of us. In short, we're developing a culture of ownership up and down the organization, and it's paying dividends. So in closing, these highlights only scratch the surface of activities covered in the 77-page report, which is available on the website to anybody that wants to see it. Tonight, I did not talk about road repaving and the amount of repaving that we've done. I didn't talk about snow operation. Every snowstorm last year, we exceeded VDOT's standards by 12 hours or more in our clearance rates. We didn't talk about police enforcement operations that create a safe community, the water and sewer services we provide every day, Chestnut Grove Cemetery, and much more that can be read about in those pages that I referred to. All of this work could not be possible without the close coordination between the town staff and myself and our town attorney, whose fingerprints in the form of legal review and practical advice made them all possible. My thanks to Lisa Yates and her team for helping the staff achieve what they were able to achieve last year. My deepest gratitude goes to the members of the town's management team. We are very fortunate to have assembled such a fine group of dedicated professionals who are resolute and steadfast. A team that is tenaciously pursuing your vision while maintaining high standards, demonstrating balanced leadership, and embodying the values of our organization. They are a very special group of leaders. They alone aren't responsible, because I know if you went out and asked each and every one of them, much like if you asked me, we'd say it's not us. It's the men and women of the town's workforce who are responsible for the accomplishments that you have before you. Without whose hard work and dedicated service, none of it would be possible. To our staff, I owe the deepest appreciation. This management team and our staff make it a pleasure for me to serve this community in my capacity. And on behalf of the management team and town staff, thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. Through your leadership, you have provided us the resources and vision to produce this level of quality work. And to the citizens and businesses of the town, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to serve this exceptional community. I'm available for your questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council? Mr. McKenna.
I just have one question for the benefit of the people in the audience and also at home. You stated that there was 1 million gallons per day for $6 million. $6 million is per year, correct?
No, $6 million is to pay for the treatment, the overall treatment, the ability to get it.
Okay.
Then we will be paid per gallon. We will pay a per gallon cost to pump it.
Just want a clarification on that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Other questions? Ms. Friedrichs.
Just a comment. Thank you so much. Great presentation.
Any other questions? Ms. Baker.
We can do comments now as well, right? Are we going to do this as question comment? Sorry, I just want to do comments. I don't have questions.
How do you want to do that? It's usually questions, and we still have to have a motion on the floor to accept it. Sorry, I'm all discombobulated because there's a general item first. Okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Ashton? No. Yes, ma'am.
Since I have been contacted by people that saw the omission, and it also didn't include the number of parking spaces, are we going to make any kind of statement?
We can. I'll talk to Ann. She's on leave right now, but I'll talk to Ann when she gets back, and we'll set something clarifying out. The number of spaces we need to work with a little bit, because there's the public spaces, there's the overall spaces, and I don't want to create confusion. I know when I spoke to the Chamber of Commerce with the Comstock project manager, there was some confusion about space numbers, and it's because people were honed in on the overall number, but we need at least half, if not more of it, to operate the residential that's going to be existing in the development as well. So we'll kind of massage something and put something out.
Okay, because when it said the 18,000 square foot parking garage, the comments were like, that's not much parking.
No.
So just want to make sure we have
Yes,
something
that
going
is,
out there.
absolutely.
So that I will have your official statement.
You
to
will have
cut
my
and
official
paste.
statement.
That way I don't say it wrong. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, then I will entertain a motion to accept the State of the Town Report Fiscal Year 2019. It's Resolution 19G63.
So moved. Second.
All right. Discussion on the motion. Madam Vice Mayor, you were the motion maker.
Yes, again, after attending the Virginia Municipal League. There, am I on? Thank you. Again, after attending the Virginia Municipal League conference, you just have no idea how fortunately we are to have such competent, professional staff here running our town. And I really appreciate that, because when I talk to some of these mayors and vice mayors and council members of much, much smaller municipalities, I mean, if there's a snowstorm, the mayor better be out there in a truck and have a shovel as well as the rest of us. And so it's really wonderful. And thank you for this great piece you put together. It's very attractive, easy to read, which is what people like. I don't know how many people are going to read the big number, but this is great, and thanks for all of what our staff do. And I don't think there were any police departments that had anyone that had pink hair, like
Like Officer Murray.
Officer Murr. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McKenna.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Madam Vice Mayor said. I actually was a council member in a home rule state where you actually, when you were finance chairman, you were actually doing the budget with a few people on staff, if you were lucky. So I had many sleepless nights about that, and I can even tell you, when Hurricane Floyd came through in 1998, the town next to us had 13 feet of water downtown. We had 4. But I was the liaison for the Office of Emergency Management for Middlesex County, and I trial by fire to learn a lot of things. So it's good to have staff that's prepared and understands what needs to be done. And I want to thank not only the manager, but also the staff as well. I know there was some transition. We filled in some spots with a lot of experience that was missing, but we definitely made up for it. Like Ms. Tripoli and our new DPW chair, it's been incredible. And I also want to thank prior councils. We couldn't be here. Nothing works in a vacuum. So prior years' diligence certainly makes it easier to do our jobs here. So I want to thank prior councils as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Baker.
Thank you, Town Manager, for that comprehensive report, summary report, right? Because there is so much happening. I think that really highlights it, right? All of that activity you mentioned, while having 2 huge projects happening with downtown and with Metro. I just want to again just reiterate some of the departments, just to acknowledge. Lisa Yates, our town attorney, we are super lucky to have her leadership. There is so much happening in town, and I know you certainly feel the same. So we really appreciate, and I'm glad that we approved that in the budget to have an additional resource for that really important department and the work that Lisa and her team are doing. I totally agree with what the Vice Mayor said. I was thinking the same thing as we're listening to this. As when we're at VML, it's cities and towns. It's elected officials from city and towns. That's essentially what VML, the folks that go, in addition to the town manager, town attorneys, maybe town clerks. We really are in a fortunate position. And there's cities that are bigger than us or a similar size to us, and we still have so much to be proud of here for just the level of professionalism and expertise that we have in our 4.2 square miles. Parks and Rec, there's just numerous things. I think the festival's a great one to highlight, as you mentioned. A huge undertaking to move that, and I'm glad it was so successful. DPW with having new leadership, and just the amount of activity that John and Tammy are leading. There's the really noticeable things in terms of the streets and the refuse and recycling date changes, and just all the little things as well that are just the day-to-day things that you do to make sure that it's working well, whether we know or not. You're just doing all sorts of stuff for us. Police, one of my favorite nights of the year is National Night Out. We're really lucky. Again, at VML, there was some folks from Fairfax County that spoke at VML. People speak so highly of our police force, and particularly of Chief DeBoard. That kind of leadership, when we look around what can happen in communities, right? When we don't have a well-trained police force, it can be catastrophic. And so we're super fortunate to have that. I love that we have more officers learning Spanish and being able to better serve our diverse community. And also just the importance of really staying competitive. I know it's a tough spot when we're our little town among a competitive Fairfax County and Loudoun County. So thank you for all you do to make sure that we offer an attractive place to work. To the finance department, Jenny Tripoli is amazing. Keeping that AAA rating is so important for our little town, and I know that there's a lot that goes into it to keep us make our jobs easier as we approve the budget. But that's all based on the work that your team does along the way, enabling the team with the P cards. Community development, community development is one of those teams, one of many, but one of those departments that really has a lot of interaction with folks, particularly related to their most valuable asset, right? Particularly related to their house, not just paying their bill or some other things, but there's a real heightened sense when of urgency, of concern when folks often reach out and need the community development team and department. So it's so important that we have a really strong team there, and I really love the changes that have been made and the continued customer service and attention that you give to our citizens and businesses. To the IT department, I know there's been a lot of changes there, and we continue to see great improvements with the IT department. HR, I had no idea those numbers until you just said them, that we've had 10 retirements. They kind of happen along the way. We sign cards, and I don't realize there was 10 retirements and 143 new employees, granted 114 of them being temp, but that's a lot of employees to churn through when we have about 250-ish employees total. So just a really impressive year, and I just want to say particularly thank you to particularly to Bill Ashton and again to Lisa Yates, but Bill has really shown a sense of leadership that's really a coaching style and a sense of empowerment that I think has made our whole staff stronger. Folks know what they're doing. He really trusts that he is, I think, having such a diverse, when you have a role like that, you have such a diverse set of folks that are doing different things. And I think he's shown that it really works best when you empower those folks to do what they do well, that they've studied those things. He gives them the resources they need, the cover they need. But that level and that sense of both his coaching style and his empowerment, I think, is incredibly impactful and noticeable. So thank you for your efforts and your leadership.
Thank you. I concur. Mr. DeCall.
Thank you, Councilmember Baker. Actually, you spoke before me, so it made me easy. I don't have to speak a lot. I can just say, I echo, right? But thank you, Bill, for your leadership, and thank you, Town Attorney Lisa Yates. Through your leadership, we are proud to say that we have such a wonderful staff in the town of Herndon, and especially led by town manager himself, with the integrity he puts and the leadership he puts with every employee. That's where we can see the compassion in people and doing the work and putting extra effort and walking the extra mile, taking care of the people in the town. That all happens through the leadership and vision. And thank you, Bill, town manager Bill Ashton, for that. All the department heads. We have a wonderful team here, and we are here just to adopt the vision, right? But the town staff is the one who implements those vision and those budget and everything into action and plan. And thank you, because you guys make us look good. And we have great public service here, and we are offering great public service while maintaining the financial responsibility and sustainability, and maintaining the AAA bond rating and everything, and which is really great, and also maintaining a vibrant community through community engagement through different activities that Park and Rec puts forward and the town puts forward. And because of these activities, our people, we have a sense of community here, and we are moving towards the right direction. And thank you, Bill Ashton. Thank you, Town Attorney, and thank you, all the town staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. De Aguila.
I'll be brief. Just want to, again, thank the staff, those in the leadership role, and certainly to the town attorney and the town manager for really instilling the value and culture of extreme ownership here. I think that has been an imprint on the entire organization, and we're looking forward to that being continued in the future. So we're going to hold you to that extreme ownership and delivery. You got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm not going to talk for a long time. I concur with my colleagues, and I do gratefully appreciate the ownership model that you have empowered our employees up and down the line to make decisions and not be afraid of being wrong, and look at every day as a learning experience, and it's made all the difference in the world. So thank you to everybody. And with that, we had a motion some time ago by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Ms. Friedrichs, to accept this town report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries. Thank you all. Next up, we have several public hearings. The first one is ordinance 19035 to authorize additional capital projects to be financed by the town's general obligation public improvement bonds, Series 2018B, by amending the provisions of a prior ordinance and prior resolution adopted by the town council on August 14th, 2018. This will require a roll call vote when the time comes, so I will open the public hearing, recognize Jenny Tripoli, who's going to tell us all what that meant.
Great. Good evening, and thank you for all the wonderful comments. They're really greatly appreciated. Herndon really is a fantastic place to work. So, with that, we'll get on to the housekeeping business of this. It's a lot of build-up for what's really a housekeeping item. We just needed to amend the ordinance for the 2018B bond series that we issued in August of 2018 to include specifically transportation and roadway improvement projects. That bond was meant to finance the water purchase that we did, the 1 million gallons per day, several CIP projects, but it wasn't specific about transportation. So we're just dotting our I's and crossing our T's by amending this ordinance to include specific transportation-related language. We worked with the bond attorney, with the town attorney, so even though this requires a roll call, it's really just a housekeeping item. I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Tripoli? Any questions? Okay. Thank you. So this is a public hearing, so I will call for comments from the audience. If anyone would like to come forward, please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to make your comments. Is there anyone that would like to come forward? No. Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, move to council level for discussion and action. Mr. McKenna.
Madam Mayor, I move for passage of ordinance 19-0-35.
Second. We have a motion made by Mr. McKenna, seconded by Ms. Baker. Discussion on the motion.
Nothing here.
Any discussion? Anyone? No? Okay. Then I will call the question on the motion and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Olom?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember De Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember DeCall?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedrichs?
Yes.
Councilmember McKenna?
Yes.
And Mayor Merkel?
Yes, that motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next up is ordinance 19036 to consider amending the fiscal year 2020 adopted budget. And once again, this will require a roll call vote. And I'll open the public hearing and recognize Ms. Tripoli once again for the staff report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Normally, we amend the budget twice a year, but at this point in fiscal year 2020, we're still pretty early, but we had several significant off-cycle priorities change and grants occur. So we're coming to you today to ask for a budget amendment to fund those priorities. As you can see from the first slide, the increases in the grant revenues are basically related to paving. We got close to $560,000 for additional paving. Also, there was a surplus from the police radio project, and so we want to move that money back into the general fund, but that requires your action to do it due to its not only the dollar amount, but because we're transferring money back from a capital project into the general fund. And that will go to fund a portion of the security project priorities. And finally, we're decreasing a general fund transfer out, again, because there was just a shift in some of the priorities in the capital improvements fund. Going to the next. Whoops. See, it's such a long presentation. I clicked right out of it. This next slide is just the impact on the capital projects fund. What we're asking for is to move some money around based on, again, different timing and priorities of projects. So what you're seeing there is really just a request for an additional $500,000. That cash already exists. And finally, you can see in the Information Systems Improvement Fund, it's just a wash as we move that money out. So all told, it's a general fund impact of about $198,000 additional that we're asking for, and we have, of course, fund balance and other savings that could make up for that. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take those at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Tripoli? Any questions? Ms. Friedrichs.
So, sorry. I know we discussed this at the work session, but I just wanted to emphasize we got additional grant money, We had
Yes.
some surplus that we're transferring over.
Yes.
We need about $500,000 that's already available, and it's offset by a certain amount of savings, leaving us with about $198,000.
So the 500,000 is in the CIP projects fund, and the 198,000 is in the general fund.
Okay.
So it's the way that works is we're just pulling from fund balance in each of those funds.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of staff? Anyone? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once again, this is a public hearing. If there's any public left that would like to come forward and make any comments, we welcome you at this time. Is there anyone that would like to come forward? Okay, seeing none, really seeing none, I will move to council level for discussion and action. Anyone? Madam Vice Mayor.
Madam Mayor, I move approval of 19-0-36.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve made by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Mr. McKenna. Discussion on the motion.
I just want to say thank you for your comments in the work session. You explained everything very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Nope. Okay. Thank you. Well, once again, this does require a roll call vote, so I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Olo?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember De Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember DeCall?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedrichs?
Yes.
Councilmember McKenna?
Yes.
And Mayor Merkel?
Yes, and that motion carries unanimously as well. Next is ordinance 19-037 to approve a lease of space in the town's building at 397 Herndon Parkway to the Eldon Street Players, which is also known as Next Stop Theater Company. I'll open the public hearing and recognize Lisa Yates, our town attorney, for a staff report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This lease is a new lease. We do have another lease with Eldon Street Players. They share art space. But this lease is to allow them a small space in our property at 397 to conduct rehearsals. They had been using another town building that was not really suited for that use. So we were able to take advantage of the space at 397 and give them that for a year's lease. The term is a year. The amount is $1, which is consistent with other leases for similar uses with other organizations in the town. That's about it.
Thank you. Are there questions for the town attorney? Any questions on this one? All right. Once again, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to come forward and speak on this item? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move to council level for discussion and action. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor, I move approval of 19-0-37.
Second.
Okay, made a motion by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Mr. Delagula. Discussion on the motion?
I'm very happy to hear that the town was able to find another location that was more appropriate so that we could help our award-winning theater group stay in town. Thank you.
Agree. Ms. Friedrichs?
Well, I second what the Vice Mayor said. I've had a chance to speak with Evan Hoffman, the Managing Artistic Director, several times, and he's been very worried that he wouldn't have any space. So I'm really glad we're able to provide it. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, I concur. So if there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed, that motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's almost like you guys want to get home for something. I'll call the question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And Madam Vice Mayor?
Madam Mayor, seeing no other business, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second, go Nats.
Second. Third.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? We are adjourned about 3 minutes before first pitch.